What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Denver Beer and Oil, DBO. On today's episode, I'm introducing a fancy boy. So this is our buddy Brendan Stouffs' car. It's an E24. By the way, he takes the sexiest photos on the face of the planet. You guys should definitely check out his Instagram, B_Stouffs, S-T-O-U-F-F-S. Check that out for sure, seriously. But anyway, back to it. It is an E24, obviously. I forget what year it is. I want to say 86. Let's see if we can find a door tag. All right, nope, 87. July of 87. M30B35. 5-speed transmission, was originally an auto. He basically wants to do like a mild track build on it, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. So just for fun, I'm sure you guys noticed this on the dyno. We just kind of wanted to see what it would make. So today, let's go see what the air conditions and weather conditions and such, etc. look like. All right, so it says 14 degrees Celsius, 835 baro, which is just your atmospheric pressure here. It's a little under what you guys are probably all at because we're up in the mountains. We're at like 5,300 feet right here. Relative humidity, 34%, blah, blah, blah. You guys don't care. Point is, we want to see what this thing's going to make. So I'm going to set it up. We've already got it all hooked up. I just got to enter Brendan's details, and then we'll run it. So comment below with your guesses. We'll see what it does. And then we'll roll into brake stuff and all the fun techie stuff. So here we go.
Howdy.
How are you?
Good. What do you think it's going to make?
Gases.
Completely stock.
Well, stock as fuck.
633 or 635?
635.
635? To the wheels?
To the wheels.
Will, what do you have?
I guess, what did I guess? I guess what was it? Like 140 horsepower, and I'm gonna guess like 165 torque.
Chris was 160 something torque, and I was 175, and I didn't do torque.
Alright, I'll go with like 160, I think is let's go 160, 100.
You're getting
You came
dyno.
literally at the perfect time. We're about to dyno your car.
Dude, hell yeah.
What do you think it's gonna make?
It's gonna make 69 ponies. Dude, it sounds like
I put some primo in it for that extra oomph.
it's running on 2 cylinders.
It's running perfect. 12.9 to 1. We're good.
Is that how much power it made?
No, that was the V12 car.
I was gonna say,
we're about to
yeah.
overlay that.
Alright.
We'll see an overlay, you versus V12.
Oh man, Chris.
164. There we go. All right, that's the last time I'm done on this car. Did we figure that diff out? That was a little creepy.
What do you think of the race car?
Dude, this thing gets it.
Yeah.
Gets it. We're gonna need at least 2 times that amount.
Those are rookie numbers in this department. Actually, that's like mid-grade for us.
Yeah, it is mid-grade.
The third car we've ran, that's dead in the middle.
You versus a V12, you lost. I'm sorry. That's so disappointing.
By almost 100 horsepower, man.
We were hoping.
Yeah, contemplate my life after that. This car needs some help, as you can tell by the part selection on the table. So what we're going to do here is we are going to help it a lot. We're basically going to be doing a mild track build. Nothing crazy right now. As you can see, this is mostly maintenance related stuff and a couple performance parts, so of note. And by the way, I also need to mention that Angry Ass Solutions, our main guys, are the ones who ordered all these parts for me. So if you guys need parts, go to angryassolutions.com, or is it angryass.com? Click the link.
Yeah.
Click the link.
Right here on the screen.
Right on the screen. Click the link. So anyway, of note, we have first and foremost the uber sexy, super badass, most excellent moose head spherical bearing thrust arm bushings. Those are awesome. So just for frame of reference, these are stock ones, as you can tell. Mushy rubber. Ew, gross. Nobody wants that. Boo. So solid. You will never have to replace that in your life, most likely. We're also going to be doing some trailing arm bushings and some subframe bushings. These are the subframe bushings. We're going poly because, like I said, this is going to be a track car. A lot of little maintenance item. New peanuts. That's just what I call them. We are also the pièces de la résistance. we're going to be installing F30 340 millimeter brakes on it. These things are freaking rowdy. They're super cool. They're 4 pots. As you can tell, it's kind of a 2-piece rotor. Very light aluminum housings, super easy to source, not that expensive. And again, our buddies over at angryass.com make the kit for it. Comes with everything you need. So hit them up. But anyway, I'm pretty stoked about this because I have never tracked an E24 before. I don't know if any of you have, but they seem like pretty rad cars. And this is a really cool one. This car is going to have several iterations, so get pumped for that, guys. It's going to be on the channel. We're going to be doing some cool stuff. At some point, Brendan is going to be swapping the car or turboing it. He doesn't know yet. His mind is about ADD with motors as mine is with entire car builds. So, having said that, at some point, either a different motor or a big turbo is going to be going in this. I think you guys know my vote, big turbo. A couple other things we're doing, just wheel bearings, general maintenance stuff. We got some nice brake pads going on here. I don't know if you guys really care about seeing brake pads. Wow, look, they look like brake pads. That's remarkable. Would you look at that? And then lastly, motor mounts. So, yeah, not too crazy. I've definitely got a little bit of work cut out for me, but nothing we can't handle, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. Swing! One of my favorite wheels on the planet for BMWs. So these are Apex Arc 8s, and I believe he got them in 17 inches. Let me double check that. Yes, it's a 17. So yeah, we've got 4 of these, one for every corner. I know, weird, right? We're going to be putting those on. Unfortunately, they require a little bit of spacing, but that's okay. Just more room for brakes, right? Hello, and welcome back. Look at this. This is exciting. So yeah, as you can see, I've got one corner done. These brakes are fucking big. Pardon my French, but not really. Wow. Yeah, Brendan, this car is going to stop extraordinarily well. And this may actually be the first E24 with these brakes on it. I'm not certain about that, but it's a fairly safe thing to assume, I think. E34s have more or less the exact same suspension. And so far that is proving true. Old and busted, new hotness. These were pretty hammered dog shit. The bushings were torn in the back, and as you can see, it was kind of jacked up from being super stance boyed. So anyway, junk, good stuff. So first of all, they are beef cake, my boy. Second of all, I believe they're serviceable. You can actually take these apart and grease them. You can see the set screw there. This whole guy comes apart. And obviously, if you're looking for, you know, stiffness and performance on the track, this your boy. The kit, it's extremely easy. As it turns out, this caliper has the exact same spacing, bolt-wise, from center to center, as the original E34 calipers. And again, let's visualize. Here's your stock brake. Here's the one we're putting on there. Little bit of a difference. And then again, I'd say we're making a bit of an upgrade here. Good God.
Some surface area.
Yeah, a little bit of surface area of an upgrade there. So, and then the wheel bearings we pulled off, hammered dog shit. They literally fell apart when I took them out, and they're super dry. So the big brake kit, you guys would be responsible for buying your own calipers, but you can get the lines from them, as you can see, with the kit, and that includes all 4 for the rear. Yes, there's 4. We'll go into detail on that when I get the subframe out. But the front ones are super freaking easy. So put your new line on there if you choose to do so. You should do so. And then the new brake actually just gets installed. So you put the bolt through the existing knuckle, and then this spacer goes right here, and it actually spaces off. Oops, sorry, I'm going from the wrong side here. So basically, knuckle right here, spacer, boom, bolts right up. There's literally no like fancy bracketry necessary. So, the way you do this, if you guys aren't familiar, just to give you a brief overview, this is actually not that crazy of a job. You can totally do this in your driveway with basic tools. The only specialty tool that you may need to have, I would say, might be a pickle fork, just to make your life a little bit easier to get this tension arm out. But the other thing that you could do if you're doing it in your driveway is you could, after you loosen this nut, you could put a jack under it to pop it out. But I put slight pressure on it with a pickle fork, and then I tapped the outside with a ball peen hammer, and it released almost immediately. So first and foremost, the order of operations that I did this, and take in mind I did wheel bearings as well. I took the old caliper off, which is two 19mm bolts on the back. It comes out right here and right here. So pop those both out, and then you're going to need a 14 and an 11 wrench to get the old brake line off, which you will pull not only from the caliper right here, but also up here. So 11 on the bottom, 14 on the top. This is also an 11. So once your brake line and your caliper are off, that gives you access to pretty much everything else. At which point in time, if you're doing wheel bearings while you do this, which I pretty much recommend that you do because it's super easy, and while you have the caliper off, it takes like 10 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. So you'll pop out the set screw. Now in this new setup, I can't use a set screw because it actually doesn't line up. But it's a 5mm Allen set screw, and it should be on your E24s, your E28s, and your E34s. This is all pretty much the same stuff, and the same kit, I believe, should work with all of it, but you guys need to ask Angry Ass about fitment, not me. Hub, where the screw is, the set screw for the brake rotor, some of these will actually line up and fit, some of them will not. This particular car, it's not going to fit, which is unfortunate, but we're going to be using bolt-on spacers, so that's going to serve the same purpose. So we're not super worried about it. So once you get the caliper off, 5mm set screw, right? It's going to be in the equivalent of this on the OEM setup. Pull that out, brake rotor comes right off, at which point in time, you're going to need to go get yourself this. And this is super annoying. As you can see, I had to grind the piss out of this thing to make it work. And this is a 45mm socket to get the wheel bearing nut off, which is obviously a monster. So to give you a visual, this is the old one. This is a big sucker. I have absolutely no idea why they decided to use a nut that was the size of Saturn, but they did. The cheap Harbor Freight socket will do it, or you can go get a nice thin wall 45mm socket, and that should do the trick. But I didn't have a thin wall, so to the grinder it was for me, and this took a hot minute, I'm not gonna lie to you. Once that nut's off, the entire wheel bearing just pops right off. You can replace the bearings inside of the hub if you want, but not much of a point when you can buy everything already pressed together, ready to rock. Makes your life much easier for a couple extra bucks. So new wheel bearing on, retorque the nut, and then on all of wheel bearing nuts, if you've ever done wheel bearings before, there is a little, once you get it torqued, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a flat screwdriver and a hammer and hit it, and you're gonna bend a tab in basically. Oh yeah, so this is Brendan. Brendan takes really good pictures, as you can tell. He has fancy boy camera. He does cool things. He also has like the raddest prints ever on the face of the planet. So if you guys like putting pictures in your man cave, hit this dude up for sure. They're dope. He hooked me up with one, and it's sick.
You got one?
Yeah.
Damn.
On the
What's
way.
up?
Not
Yeah.
yet, but it's coming.
I kind of forgot to get him in, but it is coming.
Right on.
Welcome back to Ye Old E24. We're on to the back. I'm taking this apart, and the reason we're doing a little update here is because I found some evidence of this diff being severely damaged, which is, I expected that because it was freaking the fuck out on the dyno, and it was also making really bad noises just like driving around in the parking lot. So we'll let Hamish and you guys look at this diff just from right here. Literally, you can tell everything you need to see from right here, and we'll see if anyone can notice what is messed up about it, what is strange. I'll give you a hint. I can't get this out, and that's why I figured it out.
It's got to do something with the input flanges, right? Or something around there.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what failed internally. I would assume there are some clutch packs that are exploded, or spider gear. Actually, I'm not even sure. Matter of fact, here, you know what? This is a good opportunity to see if this is supposed to have a limited slip. So for those of you who don't know what I'm doing, who aren't BMW fanatics, this tag right here basically tells you everything you need to know about the diff. And if it has an S on it, S is for limited slip. It's the sport diff or whatever. So if this has an S, I would assume that the clutch packs, like some of the dog ears broke off or something to that effect. Or if it's an open, probably the spider gears are severely damaged. S391, okay. So I would assume that the center section on the LSD has probably failed pretty catastrophically. Here's what I noticed. So I was like, why can't I get this out? It should be out. And then I noticed that there is a very large gap between the diff and the output flange right here. So this is supposed to be actually cupped over the diff. So this is actually about a 1/2 inch pushed out right now. So something internally is very oh no on this diff.
Health.
Yes, health is 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Stonky health. Okay, so as you can tell, there's not really much left. As a matter of fact, subframe isn't even connected anymore, and it's kind of just stuck in there. But you think those subframe bushings are good? Huh? Yeah. Mint. Anyway, diff is out of the car, so let's find out what's wrong with this thing. I got a feeling we're going to find some carnage in here. I got a good hunch that says carnage aplenty. Oh, it looks like chocolate poop.
But there's no like, oh.
That's pieces.
Yep, there's pieces coming out.
There's chunks coming out. Oh yeah, lots of chunks. Oh my god.
Chunky girl.
She's a chonker. Whoa, that was close.
It was almost a bad day.
Hallo, welkomen. What's up? Brendan's here. So, as you can tell, we've made some progress on the E24. Yeah. I don't think that you guys probably wanted to see all of it. It was a lot of boring stuff, but anyway. Long story short.
It got 500 horsepower.
I wish. This would be a hell of a lot more fun. So, got the differential rebuilt and back in it. And by rebuilt, I'm going to use that term very loosely. Check out our other video. Description in the... or link in the description. Description in the link. The failure that we were talking about was right there. Well, it initiated with good old B. Rendon over there dumping the clutch and breaking the pin that goes through the spider gears. So he broke that. And then it subsequently started to eat metal, break teeth, break dog ears. The diff was whooped, so let's put it that way. So I took apart what was left of that other diff that I had, combined all the components, and we made ourselves another limited slip. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm scared about the pinion bearings in this and the carrier bearings for the center section, but there's not really much I can do about it, so we're just gonna send it because we don't have a replacement diff that will work. And this is a 391, which is pretty rad. The only other car that I know of off the top of my head you could get that in was a viscous limited slip out of a manual 325 iXC30. Anyway, not the point. The point is the guts are rebuilt, the diff is in the car, the drive shaft is bolted out. I've got one trailing arm in. We did get the trailing arm bushings replaced. So our boys over at Angry Ass Solutions, which I am modeling for apparently, he pressed in new rotary bushings, which are pretty cool. It's basically just a way more beefy, super smooth performance style bushing / bearing. It's cool stuff. So I mean, obviously you can't really tell, but it's totally serviceable, it's greasable, blah 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 blah. And when you buy it from SCP Euro, hey, guess what? Lifetime warranty. All right. So I'm gonna stab this other arm back in, and then we can throw some CV axles in there. I think, unfortunately, we are going to be reusing those super hashed CV axles, which is okay, because this car has to come back in for more brake stuff and exhaust stuff and some other things. We're doing this in 2 iterations, essentially, so look forward to seeing this car again. Anywho, let's see, what else? Any other nifty little updates? I don't think so. This is about where we're at, so I am gonna let you guys listen to Freebird and do whatever you do, and I'm gonna go put this other trailing arm in. So, see you in a sec. All right, so we just wrapped this thing up, obviously. As you can see, it's on the ground on all 4 wheels, and my God, do the wheels look good. I mean, you wanna talk about hot, boy. Very hot.
Come on.
I gotta bleed the brakes one more time. Of note, in case you guys are wondering, this car has a very interesting steering system, braking system, and suspension system from the factory. So first of all, it has SLS, but it's kind of like a E53 or of sorts, E39, same deal. It has a pump in the back that supplies the SLS, which I deleted. It also has Hydro Boost brake assist. So that means there is no vacuum brake booster on this car. And as such, in order to bleed the steering pump, you actually have to use the brakes. It seems to be working well, but I think the brakes need more bleeding because you got to pump it a couple times. But holy crap, when this thing actually has proper pressure going to the front brakes, holy bejesus, does it stop good. I mean, it is like, Hamish, you were there.
Like,
Yeah, it is like throws you forward.
Especially with the tires.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this thing for sure.
Very surprisingly, it actually doesn't rub. I cannot believe it, but it doesn't rub. At least not in terms of normal driving conditions. Maybe on bumps at full lock or something, but I was being very careful. The car feels very, 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 very tight. The steering is very tight. The rear end is very tight. There's no more weird clunkies. I think the diff has a little bit of the diff bushing has a little bit of play in it, so there's a little bit of clunk when you start from first, but we know it's not anything else in the rear suspension because it's all brand new. Brandon, you're going to have a hell of a time with this car, man. And the diff works great, so that's good news. There is a little bit of noise coming from, I think, the pinion bearing, so prep yourself for failure at some point if you're beating the shit out of it. But as of right now, it does exactly what it's supposed to do and functions like an LSD. So I guess stay tuned on the channel. You guys are definitely going to see this car again. It's going to be coming back in for the rear brake upgrades, for some exhaust upgrades, and maybe for an engine swap in the future. We'll see. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for your support. Please don't forget to be a patron if you like what we're doing. We need your help. And, you know, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and spread the word, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.